Well, another episode of Sauntering Snippets. This evening, it's all about trust and loyalty to a little degree. As you may have known by reading the Grok this past week, there was an event Monday night concerning the Belknap County in New Hampshire delegation. The delegation is made up of all of the New Hampshire state reps that are serving in the New Hampshire House of Representatives. And they were supposed to be going over the budget that the commissioners had given to them and then they modified. The presentation was supposed to be given by State Rep Bogert, and it didn't happen because one person who expressed their fidelity to follow the law asked what the leadership, specifically Chair Harry Bean, Clerk of the Delegation Travis O'Hara, the Belknap County Administrator Deb Shackett, and one of the Belknap Commissioners, Mr. Spanos, I can't remember his first name, decided to say, all of the budget review subcommittee meetings were properly noticed, and gave New Hampshire State Rep Barbara Comtois a really hard time. Now, they kept insisting that they had properly noticed the meetings. Chair Bean said so. The county commissioner said that, well, I saw people of the public at meetings, so it must have been publicly noticed. The county administrator said it. And the clerk of the delegation made clear that he thought that they had been properly noticed, because he said, well, what do you want us to do? Throw away the budget and just put in the commissioner's budget? Putting her in the crosshairs of a straw man and null and void debating tactic. She also asked other impertinent questions, and she was labeled to be a troublemaker. Well, lo and behold, just like COVID and a whole lot of other stuff to which many of us on the right who had the skill, knowledge, and the time to do the research were labeled as conspiracy theorists about the vaccine, possible other diagnostic capabilities, and that's what I'm looking for, regimens, the ones about the masks. Lo and behold, we turned out to be right. And now we're seeing, like with the January 6th videos, that a lot of what the Democrats and a couple of rogue Republicans said about the insurrection, normally that means a lot of artillery and guns firing and all that other stuff, hasn't turned out to be all that much now that Tucker Carlson is starting to put them out. But for those of you who kind of poo-poo all of that, I ask one question: who's following the law? And that's really what it comes down to. It turned out, because I used the law, New Hampshire's Right to Know law, otherwise known as New Hampshire RSA 91A, that after Monday night's meeting, it was clear that all of a sudden there was a little CYA language and body language being used that had tipped me off, that said, well, maybe they didn't notice them, even after they said that all of the notices had been properly noticed according to state law. Advance notices on the website of the delegation, as well as ads in the paper. So I put in a right to know. Show me at the general ledger account level the transaction history for those GLs that have to do or are entailed with paying the Daily Sun for noticing meeting ads. Shortly thereafter, I got an email from a tipster that the county administrator said that this coming Monday is going to be a meeting to be a redo for all of the non-noticed meetings about doing the budget. My. Guess who was right? Yes, Barbara Comtois was right. Which means that at best, the chair, the clerk, the commissioner, and the administrator were misleading. At worst, they lied. They lied to protect themselves, lied to protect what they had done, and they just wanted to ramrod through. And how dare this lady, following the law, challenge them? And we go back to trust. It turned out that because of my right to know, we found out that we can't trust these people. Really. That I couldn't trust the chair, who I've known for years and years. I couldn't trust the clerk, who I've written about in the on Granite Rock a couple of times. The commissioner, we know who each other are, but that's about the extent of it. And the county administrator, she used to be the financial director when I was first on the Guilford Budget Committee. So we have a decade. Not exactly a friend, but we know each other. But I will have to say one thing for her that I can't say about the others. When I put in the right to know, she followed the law. She did it promptly, gave me the answers, which I had double-checked by going to the Laconia Daily Sun and asking the publisher whether or not they would be willing to send me the ads put in by the county to properly notice the budget review committees meetings. He sent me 2. None of them had to do with the subcommittee meetings. I got the results back from the county administrator. The transaction history showed nothing had been expended for the subcommittee meetings. I had also asked for the paper trails. Those showed the ads that showed the purchase orders and the invoices, and just the regular delegation meetings had been properly noticed, not the subcommittees. And that's the law here in New Hampshire. All public meetings must be properly noticed. Well, there's a bunch of other things that went on Monday's meeting that are of note. I've already written about most of them. You can see it on Granite Rock. But now we have a lack of trust. In fact, no trust at all. I've done further RTKs concerning emails. I don't know if I'm being lied to or not. They can say that they haven't done any emails, which according to Representative Bogart had to do with using the feature at BCC to hide other reps in communication using emails, which you are not supposed to do. I haven't gotten the rest of them back yet. So who knows who's bluffing who? Who do I know is lying to me and who's telling me the truth? I can't trust the chair, Harry Bean, because he lied to my face. Lied to all of our faces in the audience when he said all of the meetings had been publicly noticed. Then it turns out they weren't. Same thing for the clerk, Travis O'Hare. Same thing for Mr. Spanos, the commissioner. Same thing for the county administrator. I can say that she didn't lie on the materials she sent back because I double-checked them. But I will thank her for following the law. The others, not so much. Trust. Trust takes a long time to build up. Sometimes takes months, sometimes even takes years. But as the saying goes, trust can be lost in a split second. And in this case, it was lost during a meeting. And politicians everywhere don't seem to understand that they lose when they lie. They lose when they don't tell the truth. They lose when we find them in CYA mode. The problem is we're hurt most of all. They don't care. They have their agendas, they have their egos, and they have their aspirations, generally for higher office. We're still stuck. If that brave state rep, Barbara Comtois, hadn't stepped up, following the law, making sure that the delegation wasn't following the law, and spoken up and asking the direct questions of those involved, the ones I've mentioned, we'd be getting a 35.4% increase in our county taxes. Now it's turned into a big issue. She gets the major credit. I'm just sort of backup with the right to knows. And I'll be honest with you, as I write each one, I'm rather steamed that I even have to demand whether or not politicians have done their jobs on our behalf. They have forgotten that they work for us. They represent us, and not they themselves and what their agendas happen to be. I'm Skip. This has been Skip's Sauntering Snippets. And boy, this coming Monday's meeting is going to be a big deal. They think they're going to accomplish something.
Croc TV.